Well, we left Jeff and Lara. It was quite difficult, wasn't it? We're here in Lebanon, Indiana. We're just juicing the Blue Pig up. 160 miles to Chicago. And today we're paying $3.25, $3.26 per gallon. This is one of those only in America type things. They got to drive through McDonald's right here at the toll. It's a bit closer into town now, after having gone through 3 tolls. It's the Sears Tower straight ahead. They've actually changed the name, but I can't remember the name, but it's the tallest building in America at the moment. The new World Trade Center Freedom Tower will be taller. Well, we checked into the hotel, just come for a bit of a wander. It's 5 p.m, just after. That's the window to our hotel between the 5-3 and the Days Inn sign. Our hotel room, I should say. Very convenient here in the Lincoln Park area. There goes the Beale wagon, almost ran over the Mercedes. In the Lincoln Park area, here on Diversey. It's where I stayed in 2002. BB's very interested in these old terraced style townhouses. For one main reason, the gap between the buildings. Sun's in the wrong spot, unfortunately, but they'll be the same size but all different styles and all standalone structures. This is 1 block south of our hotel. There's some really pretty buildings around here. As I say, I turn right just here and I come out almost to our hotel. So I did that, turned right, walked 100 metres and I'm now back on Diversey and all its amenities here in East Lakeview / Lincoln Park, which is just over that way. This is to the north side of Chicago. Downtown, I mean, downtown Chicago. We're very much in Chicago right here. There's pubs and bars everywhere along here. Reminds me of England, actually, there's so many. Because Halloween's coming up. People go to extraordinary lengths, although this isn't in that category, but they certainly made an effort. Time to eat again. We're at the Golden Nugget. Get a shot of the front of this place in a minute. I haven't had a Philly steak in this trip yet. So that's what's going on there. Yeah, the actual other meals are $6 each. This is 99 cents.
Chicken noodle soup. Very nice.
And I've got chili with all that American cheese on top. Chili con carne we call it in Australia, but chili. It's got onions and beans and it looks like you need a knife and fork for it. Yep, you can stand the spoon up in it, as they said, and it's unbelievable. Best I've ever had in my life, I reckon.
Very good going.
Okay, it's $6 inclusive with those starters and these. Look at the size of them. What do you got there? It's a club. It's a junior club.
It's a BLT.
Oh.
No, it's a BLT.
And this one is my Philly cheesesteak. Look at the size of it. Now, look at that scale for onion rings. The size of the onion rings. My deep fry rule has gone out the window second last night of the trip.
Yeah.
I only ate half of my onion rings. They were just a bit too slimy. Well, this part of the DVD is a bit of a recreation of sorts. This is Chicago. And this is where I stood, around this area anyway, 2002, to introduce that film. Well, this one is to finish it off this time, 2011, 9 years on. We got here Yes, we actually got here on Monday afternoon to Chicago. It's now Wednesday, and here's a bit of a look at what we did yesterday around town.
A body of water that needs no introduction, and yet I'm going to introduce it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Lake Michigan! Yay, the lake! Now, Lake Michigan is a great lake. It is, in fact, the third largest of the Great Lakes, and it's the only Great Lake wholly contained within these United States. Lake Michigan is furthermore the fifth largest lake in the world overall, and shaped more than 300 miles long and about 118 miles wide at its broadest point. A Chicago hot dog. Now, you might ask yourself, what differentiates a Chicago dog from an encased meat treat you might enjoy any place else in the universe? Well, first of all, we start with pure Vienna beef, then we slide that sucker onto a poppy seed bun, and we top it with a salad made out of onions, bright green relish, dill pickle spears, tomatoes, hot sport peppers, and the coup de grace. A couple of shakes of celery salt. It's what we call dragging it through the garden. Now, it's okay to ask for mustard on your hot dog, but ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, listen to me now, whatever you do, under no circumstances request ketchup. A major faux pas in this corner of the world. And believe it or not, there are places where they will give you the ketchup, but they will not apply it to the sandwich for you. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. The few remaining examples of Richardsonian Romanesque revival architecture left in the Windy City. Check out the deeply recessed windows, pretty red-gray stone. I'll tell you a little secret about Excalibur. It's haunted, I kid you not. There have been over 25 ghost sightings in that building. I want one of whatever those people were drinking. We are now rolling
Little
around
Maccas.
to stop number 12 in the circuit. Watch out for the trees as we pull up to stop number 12. If you take a look to your right, you'll see a couple of high-end chain eateries. There's a lovely Irish pub called Fidel. Keep up the good work. You're doing a fine job. Across the street, we find Maggiano's Little Italy, a fine family-style Italian restaurant. Could be in Chicago's history. The Eastland disaster. Now, here's what happened. In July of 1915, a ferry carrying Western Electric employees to a picnic in Indiana capsized and killed 844 people, mostly Czech immigrants. The irony of this story is that the ferry was top-heavy and began to list, at least in part, because it was laden with lifeboats, a requirement after the Titanic a few years earlier. Take a look straight ahead to your right and up. You'll see perhaps one of the, perhaps the most famous building in the Windy City, the rock star of the Chicago skyscrapers, the one, the only, Willis Tower, formerly the Sears Tower. Oh, let's just call it the Sears Tower. We all do. Why pretend? You know, when the Sears Tower was completed back in 1974, it was the tallest building in the world, and it maintained that status until the Petronas Towers went up in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia back in '98. Even though the Sears Tower has been knocked down a few pegs over the years, it is still the tallest building in the Windy City. Heck, it's the tallest building on the Western Hemisphere at just over 1,450 feet. Down Chicago is my kind of town. Chicago is the kind of people who smile at you each This time I roam, Chicago is calling me home. Chicago is.
110
Oh, I
stories
love this town.
of black steel beauty is how he described it, the Sears.
If you'll direct your attention to your left,
There we are,
is an
there we are.
homage to Sears' past as a catalog business. That structure is
Sears
designed to look like a big mailbox. Should you decide to explore the Sears Tower Observatory, the Sky Deck it's called, why not also check out the Ledge? 11 South Wacker Building, the tallest reinforced concrete structure in the United States, and the only downtown office building in the Windy City that has a front yard. I mean, there are people who live in $1 million apartments in this neighborhood who have no grass in front of their building. The 311 was supposed to be a set of towers. One was never completed, and its lot was turned into that beautiful quasi-public space. The route to be totally paved in 1934.
This is the beginning of Route
From
66.
Chicago all the way to San Bernardino, California, the Santa Monica Pier, basically LA. That is a shade more than 2,000 miles. Before there was an interstate highway system, when you wanted to visit the Golden West, you took Route 66. At the base of
building here used to be the
Manhattan, at
tallest
least
in the world.
part at which we're looking, are 6 feet thick to accommodate the building's weight.
In the 1870s.
Here's a fun fact about the old Bonanza. It was the headquarters of Elliot Ness and the Untouchables. Now, just across the street to our left, it'll be on our right as we turn the corner, there's another Mies masterwork, the Dirksen Federal Building. The grand, almost 3-story sign, one of the few like it left in the world. We are now rolling up to the Chicago Theater. Now take a look up to your right, and you'll be struck by the golden spire that sits atop the Carbide and Carbon building. Now the Carbide sticks out on the cityscape because of its vibrant colors. The shaft is clad in that glorious green terracotta, while the base is black marble with elegant black granite accents. Currently, the Carbide is the home of the Hard Rock Hotel, which has restored the joint to its original luster.
A lot of detail on that building.
The glass, or the balconies, I should say, also break up wind patterns so that the building doesn't rock and roll in heavy gusts.
Lake Michigan's just there. In the prevailing winds off Lake Michigan.
It's interesting to
Quite
note
onerous to
that
deal
in
with.
the current economic climate, there are quite a few condos sitting empty in downtown Chicago, but Aqua here was almost all sold out when it opened for business back in 2009.
Fairmont.
Please keep in mind that you can jump off of the bus at any of our designated stops, and there will be another vehicle coming along to scoop you up every 25 minutes or so.
Wall Street protests have spilled over to Chicago and other cities around America.
Okay, we do have people leaving us. Plays host to the Broadway in Chicago program. It's one of several loop venues which participate in that program, which brings big New York musicals to town. It's like a spaceship It's actually our state of Illinois office building, the James R. Thompson Center. Now that 17-story glass beauty was designed by Helmut Jahn and completed back in 1985. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves rolling down LaSalle Street. Now this section of LaSalle is known as the Canyon of Commerce because the way is lined with more than 20 banks and financial institutions. As a matter of fact, more financial transactions take place along this stretch of LaSalle Street here in Chicago than any place else in the world, including Wall Street. Now, I'm not saying that they're all large or important transactions, but they're numerous. Now, the canyon is enclosed at its foot by the Chicago Board of Trade building. The actual Board of Trade has been around since the 1840s when farmers used to sled bales of hay and piglets through downtown Chicago. This particular building was completed back in 1930, and at 605 feet, the Board of Trade is the tallest Art Deco structure in the world outside of New York City. It has a different menu, price range, and atmosphere.
Chicago, 1927. They've been pimping the pasta since 1927. Do you like that one?
Very good.
Pimping the pasta.
Now coming up on our right, the street to which we are about to turn is known as Columbus Drive. It was named right before the Columbian Exposition, our Great World's Fair of 1893, which commemorated all but belatedly the 400th anniversary of Columbus' voyage of discovery. Now, folks, Soldier Field is a wonderful example of Greek revival architecture designed by Dirk Loeb.
Yeah, it's like a flying saucer's landed on top.
2003.
The Greek bit's quite old.
Is 20s vintage. Would you believe that the field was actually stripped of its designation as an historic landmark, but it was compromised by the new addition?
This is another look at the Chicago River. The story is that it runs all the way up to Wisconsin, to Milwaukee. They give them dirty water and they send back, the Milwaukeeans send back Budweiser beer.
They say not too much difference.
Last time I came to Chicago, 2002, it was on one of those. The Greyhound. And do you recognise this street, Larry? This is where Jake and Elwood flew down here at 100 mile an hour under the subway. Some swans in Lake Michigan.
Might be a type of geese, but I'm not.
They're geese. But they're not swans either.
No, definitely not.
No, very definitely not swans. There's stacks of them, all in a little row. Oh, almost had a shunt.
Swimming economy, I would imagine. Obviously a meeting place.
Yeah, hi. Must be
Steak or
lunchtime, it's
something at that
12:30.
time. Maybe somebody gives them food or whatever, but they definitely seem to be coming in for something.
Just around from the Chicago Yacht Club is the Columbia Yacht Club. It's actually based, situated on the Abergwait there, which is quite a large vessel. Barbara's impressed. There's a few of them out on the lake, I might have, but Barbara's impressed by the fact that a lake, a lake, can have
And
such.
it's got something that size on it. It has to stay on it, obviously.
This is Millennium Park. On our way back into town.
This is the Cancer Institute's garden of remembrance and awareness. And that's the view from behind where we were just standing. There's Lake Michigan just out to the east there. And as I turn around, such is the view to the west. Check out the eyes on BB. She's just spotted our bus and our tour guide from earlier. It was a good 2 hours ago now. He was good. Regaling them all with tales of Chicago. Back to Wabash. And where we're about to dine, you walk past it, Gold Coast Dogs.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's Popeyes. Hang on, you might be right. Keep going. Keep going. BB was right as usual. Sorry, I was looking through the camera. There was almost a huge shunt. We chose the wrong restaurant. I mean, they're Mexicans and they've got no idea what we were saying. We had no idea what they were saying. Anyway, let's get into it. That's the hot dog. And that is the Italian beef, which doesn't look very inviting, to be honest. That one's alright though. Let's get into it. It's very good.
It actually tastes a lot better than it looks.
Yeah, exactly right. They just can't speak American here, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it is fantastic, there's just not enough of it. I don't know if I explained that that's the Chicago char dog, which has been dragged through the garden, as they call it. It's got all the stuff on it. Italian had none of that, just had green pepper or capsicum as we would call it. But they're both delicious.
It's got quite a fresh taste, the hot dog, which is not what you normally associate.
Yeah, it does, it tastes fresh.
With the amount of
It was grilled, char grilled.
Yeah, but I don't mean even the meat. I mean the salad mixture that's with it. It's quite fresh. There's almost like mint being used in it as well. Quite unusual. It's nice.
Back over to Chicago on the Wabash Bridge. Have a look at these very unique style apartments right in the middle of downtown Chicago. Finished in 1964. Corn Cob Building.
Up on Michigan and Wacker Avenue there in 20 seconds time. I give a thumbs up to O'Brien's. Thumbs up to River Road Cafe right here from O'Brien's. I can recommend it to anyone.
NBC Chicago. Have a look at this building that displays their logo. Have a go at this.
Sahtiar var, bir de böyle acayip güneş var. İyi bak Ekim ayı ya.
Time to look for the bus.
Yeah, that's a beautiful building there. Look at that. Clock tower.
Yeah, it's like the
Connected by that one little corridor. Wrigley Building.
if you had $1 for every Columbus Drive in the USA, you'd be a rich person. Yeah, so as a result, the American dog, no, it's not, it's called America's dog, is what I've chosen. What I've chosen to make up for the small, meagre lunch we had. Anyway, there we are at Navy Pier. And we're staying up at Lincoln Park. Beautiful. Big and not necessarily better. It's not quite as tasty. It's pretty good though, having said that, but it's not necessarily better. The other one being char grilled was better.
Give it more flavour perhaps. I'm just about to try it.
Just what Barbara didn't want me to do was film her, and here I am.
Oh, I like it.
It's good. I just love the other one. It had mustard, relish, onions, sport peppers, tomato and celery salt. And they've named all their, because of the great road trip, they've named all their hot dogs after various places they went to. But the Chicago one I wasn't that pleased with. It was okay. But the other one was just unbelievable.
I suppose that's what happens. Different places come out differently. The other one didn't look much.
Didn't look much, but it was
Tasty.
unbelievable taste. The Jimmy Buffett's Margaritavilles, we actually didn't get into one. This trip we intended to at some point, but we've seen them all over the USA, includes Hawaii and Canada.
How's that even happen? There's a car in a river.
So we're going to pull right in front of the statue at the front end of the Magnificent Mile. They tell me it's supposed to be Marilyn Monroe.
It's a great likeness, actually. Jordan's Steakhouse. We're in the home of the Chicago Bulls. Don't forget that.
And as
Won
we
6 championships in the 90s.
continue up, we'll get into the heart of the shopping. So you
This is Steve Jobs, only died last week.
Please, Steve,
You have a look at all the messages on the windows. Memorial.
I don't know whether to call him a street performer or not really performer. Do you think he could play guitar?
The water tower is on our left, the pumping station is on our right. Now these two buildings actually survived the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, which makes them two of the oldest buildings in town, and most historic as well. Or the waterworks, or a waterworks.
And John Hancock, the black one. That's a slightly more upper market cheesecake factory to the ones that we have in good old Perth. And that stands right at the foot of the Sinister John Hancock. Now we're going to attempt to walk back to the hotel It's only 3:20.
So we'll see how far we go and how we get. We should make it.
Yeah, don't know how long it is. It's about 5 miles. It's nothing too bad. We haven't had a lot of exercise lately though.
We need it.
But not before we've sussed out the cheesecake place.
I need Dee's help. I've got too big a dilemma. Look at this. It's ultimate red velvet cake cheesecake.
It's a Godiva, where is it?
Godiva chocolate cheesecake. And I think plus a whole load of others that look brilliant.
I got my eye on the Hershey's one here. Chocolate mousse has distractions too. Alright, let's go and get a table. Old style Vegas type decorative look here in the Cheesecake Factory. Which does more than just cheesecake.
What we see.
That's my mocha. $4.95. Far and away the most expensive mocha we've had on the trip, which really is indicative of how cheap it's been, really, comparatively.
Reasonable, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Isn't that a work of art?
Barbara promised me that this wouldn't disrupt her appetite for deep pan pizza tonight. A Chicago specialty, but I'm not so sure. We're going to walk it off.
Well, yeah. I think we're going to have to.
And I got a little Hershey's one. Look at my little Hershey's button on top.
What's on around the back too? Look, the little pipe tip.
Oh yeah.
Pretty. Give you a
Oh nice.
very pretty.
What could be more fun?
Yeah.
If yours is more premium, why has it got more cream on it?
I don't know.
It's very good. I mean, we all know about Godiva chocolate. That is exceptional.
No. Sorry.
No, I agree that they're both as good as each other, but they're both completely different.
It's not very good. That's not good enough description. It's excellent.
I don't understand why they got far more cream on it. That one stands alone. No, they're both very good. I'm enjoying my Hershey's cheesecake muchly.
Beautiful.
And I was going to go the Godiva, but I think I can get one of them in Australia. I've never seen a Hershey's one in Australia. But I've been eating Hershey's chocolate all around America, and I'm going to miss it because we don't get it down there. Well, you know, people watching this will know what I mean. There's no distributor.
That's fair enough. It is your favourite chocolate.
And I'll be interested to know I can't remember what they cost. There you go, same price. Plus gratuity. Caught red-handed. What were you doing in there? They must have an Australian in charge. Well, New York might have its Central Park, and indeed there are parks here in Chicago. But Chicago's got its own beach on one of the most vast lakes of the world.
That's already, isn't it? Way.
Oh!
That was a good launch.
Classic. Yes, BB just saying it's very hard to just think of this as a lake. When you look out of the horizon and you can't see over it. And there's our big Ferris wheel over on Navy Pier.
Makes you wonder how they've come up with the ideas for the architecture, because it's all a little bit strange. But it's good. It's good to see. The other one that's got a bit of wicker on the top of it by the look of it.
A what?
Looks like wicker
Wicker.
work at the top.
Looks like a brick shit house.
It's not very attractive. It's such a hodgepodge.
Now I don't really associate good eyesight and BB in one sentence, but she says, have a look at the size of the conifer up there. True. It's a biggie. And yes, the closer I get to that, it does look like wicker, doesn't it? I just thought the overall design looked like a bit like public toilets downtown Katanning.
It's a chessboard.
Oh yeah, the whole thing.
The whole thing's all little chessboards.
Saw that in San Francisco in 2007.
We certainly did.
Although it was not
Chinese.
set on an area like this.
No.
It was right in the middle of town, middle of Chinatown.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or was it? Oh, actually, I don't know if they were playing checkers, but I don't know if they had everything set out like that.
No, they didn't. They had their own little boards, I think they took, because it was their living room.
That's right.
Chinese living room, wasn't it? Because they had no space at home for that, so I think they brought their own boards.
Well, I filmed a squirrel last time I was here 9 years ago, so I figured, hey, there's a big Barry Hall down there. Very clever. It's merely a building. Looks like it's all closed down for the season.
Yeah, looks like it. A little bit of volleyball going, beach volleyball going on over there.
I just mean with regards to this facility.
The rest of it, yes.
It's all right, we've stopped that many times, we're not really making any progress here.
No.
Dodgy over here in his filthy big V8 speedboat came underneath me and then booted it and he's gone. He's going downtown.
We were in a hurry.
How about the sound of it? It was glorious.
Yeah.
Big cast iron V8.
Hit the gas as soon as the
As soon as he was through there, he was gonski. He was, I know, he was fair dinkum hauling the mail.
Yeah.
He's already down to Navy Pier. Chicago's finished work for the day. Most of them are out exercising along here. We've been walking past this marina now for about 15 minutes. There is a causeway between this and the lake proper. There's a lot of boats in Chicago. The mouth into this isn't very wide, but doesn't need to be for fish to get in, I suppose. Nice one. And yet another balmy evening. here in the Great Lakes / Midwest section of the USA. The weather has just been unbelievable. Well, we walked away from the coast. As a matter of fact, I'll be honest, I walked too far north because I was enjoying the walk so much, just ambling along. It's a entrance to an apartment complex, and we actually saw inside, inadvertently saw inside one last night, and they're flash.
Their windows open, French doors, everything.
Yeah, no, very nice. A lot nicer than they look from the outside in general. Got off the train here back in the day, and I didn't head, Wrigleyville. I had no idea, absolutely no idea where I was going to stay or what. I just hailed a cab, and I said, take me to a good hotel. A day's in, you got one of them. It's such a good hotel that even 9 years later, we're back to staying in it again. Welcome to 1060 West Addison. We're in the suburb of Wrigleyville. Falsified address for the Blues Brothers, more commonly known as Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs since 1912 or something like that. The Cubs, one of the most loved baseball teams in America, have a curse apparently. The Cubs curse, which is something to do with a local guy who ran a cafe or an eatery here, tried to take a goat in one day with him to watch the game, and they evicted the smelly beast as well as the owner. And apparently the legend goes that he then put a curse on the Cubs. Since then, they've never won a World Series. This is the legend. Oh, the other thing about the Wrigley Field is that it's old school. All the cities now have big stadiums, all this sort of stuff, and this thing is a testament to the past, the way things were, and who knows how long it'll be here. Yankee Stadium got bulldozed, in 09, something like that. So if you have a Yankee Stadium, it can happen anywhere. So anyway, let's a look at Wrigley Field. So I was just pointing out to Barbara that we walked all the way from the Hancock down there, all the way up here to Wrigleyville, to Wrigley Field, which is just across the road from that McDonald's. You just can't see it from where I'm standing. There it is. Fancy a book. I'm surprised he's still got the power on. Check bags. Jesus. Can you believe it? Have a look at it.
There's a guy in the middle there somewhere, almost buried in books.
Yeah, I know. I can see him. Unbelievable. Gramophone record. Nothing but vinyl. Old school stuff. Classic. And back to our palatial hotel. Actually, we're right on the corner here, aren't we? Up on the 3rd floor. So this is the noisy intersection that we hear.
We're not far off that corner.
Yeah.
You can see the pole.
Yeah, behind the Days Inn sign.
Yeah.
There, up there. Come on,
Is it?
point the camera properly. Actually,
Because I looked down.
what's that down there? I just saw a shop that says pizza. We're looking for a pizza shop, and it's very hard to come by in this part of the world. Let's go and have a look at that.
It's the keen eyes of Mr. Kibblewhite that's come through.
Good old Rinaldi's. That's where we're going to eat tonight. With the dulcet tones of the Eagles playing. We've just ordered our final dinner meal in the USA.
Very special Chicago pizza.
Robert De Niro's been in here. There's a picture, signed picture in over there. And Chicago comes on.
We're in Chicago.
Right before my very eyes is BB. Alrighty, our pie is here. Pizza pie, as they call it in the USA. This is the real deal in that it's the deep pan, okay? It's the Chicago style. And what we have is 5 main ingredients on a deep pan pizza pie, Chicago style. Italian sausage, there's pepperoni, green pepper, we call capsicum, there's onion, and there's mushroom. Completely outstanding.
Very good.
It is just, yeah, really lives up to all the expectations. Look how thick that topping is. And you know, as I said, I don't go for deep pan. Normally for me it's just always thin slice, but the pastry really is adding.
Very good.
They charged us $19 just for the pan itself.
Yeah.
And then it was $3.50 for each topping, which was 5 toppings. Alright. Couldn't fit the last one in, but we had to. Just had to.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You did well.
Well, it's October 12th, a Wednesday, and it's in Chicago. This is our room here, and it's the day we leave. Goodbye, Kettle. It's been a loyal friend. We bought you day one we got to the USA mainland in Memphis, because they just don't have them in American hotel rooms, and we've made the most of it, but we're going to leave it here.
My last cup of tea from it too.
Back out at Lincoln Park, October 12th. It's quite a large statue of an eagle with what turns out to be a German. And it says to the German people 1913. We were just thinking, did they have to rip it down twice during the WWs and put it back up again? Because I can't imagine with the depth of feeling.
They wouldn't have wanted it during those 2 lots of times, I wouldn't have thought.
I agree. That's the mouth to the lake over there where Dodgy came out yesterday and put the hammer down and took off. This is one of 3 big harbours here that harbour Chicago's boat life. Yeah, well, they're very harsh winters. Brutal weather is the way they describe Chicago. Fair sections of Lake Michigan ice over.
Ice over, and thankfully that's not the case while we've been here. It's been very
Have a look at the
pleasant.
weather. It's a bit hazy today though. Hardly see the city.
Hazy but pleasant.
Anyway, we've been here in the States for 7 weeks today. We arrived, no, it was 7 weeks yesterday. We arrived in Hawaii. We've done so much. We've done 18 states. I don't know how many, I've lost count of how many thousands of miles. I'm thinking it's about 5,500, 6. And we've just crammed in so many cities, places, people, events, museums, just to name a few.
We feel like we've had several holidays in one because there's been so many parts to it.
It's a very interesting place to come and see. The South is I'm not telling anyone anything they don't know here, the South is a very different place to the Midwest. although the differences between those two aren't as great as what they are on the East Coast. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. They're like different countries, really.
Yeah. The American culture, the patriotism is something that Australia can certainly learn a lot from, but I will say though that they do take it too far sometimes, especially for people who have their minds completely closed to other ways of life, you might say.
On the other side though, something that we could all learn from is the high level of manners that people give to complete strangers, and we found that throughout. The please and the thank yous and the little courtesies. I mean, everybody thinks of that as not mattering very much, but you actually really start to notice it, and it's nice when it happens.
I mean, it's almost every person. Out of every 100 people you come across, just to, get a bus in a restaurant anywhere.
And it's any socio-economic situation. They all
You're
do
in a
it.
poorer neighbourhood, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry, and they really don't have nothing to apologise for.
Yeah.
You've got 97, 98% of people are like that. It's ridiculous. Well, not ridiculous. It's just really surprising, and it's certainly something you don't come across in Australia.
Yeah. Or many other places in the world, for that matter. So it's something we could all learn from in that respect. It does make it pleasant.
The other thing that we'll mention, and this is, anyone that comes here, anyone that wants to talk to someone that's come here wants to know, is the food. Now, for someone like me, Kibblewhite, it's a gastronomical Disneyland everywhere you go. Food is so tasty and so cheap, comparatively. Yes, the healthy choices are slightly harder to come by, but you can quite easily eat healthily.
The places that sell the unhealthy food now, without exception, also sell salads and things like that, which they didn't the last time we were here.
Yeah,
So
that's true. It's
that's
got
made a
better.
difference.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, why?
Oh, you just walked right past the front of the video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It was a
That's why I
genuine
went
mistake. No problem.
Here's the real American walk through.
No, we're just telling everyone how absolutely polite and unfailingly polite all Americans are. Even yourself. You spoiled my picture. You're still
Go
polite.
around. You saw that.
I saw you go around. I thought, oh, well,
Yeah, I'm always the man.
No problem.
thank you. There's a little young bloke that's got something in his mouth. Barbara's fascinated. There he goes. It's only a leaf.
Yeah, it's a leaf. It's either for the winter now, or for eating. The other.
He's gone and pinched it from his neighbour and he's taking it home. The other thing, of course, about the USA is the cheese. Their love for really slimy, tacky, tasty cheese.
Melted cheese.
Melted cheese. Yellowy type of cheese. You certainly wouldn't live on it. Now, I reckon I've put on 10 kgs minimum since the 7 weeks I've been here. Alcohol costs here. We can buy Margaret River bottles of wine in New York for half the price that we do in Perth. We all know why. Taxation.
Tax.
Bourbon, is, for example, spirits, a third of the price.
Yeah.
There's been so many highlights that we're really glad we've got this DVD, the video camera, to go back and relive it all, because there's just things, there's just things little things we've forgotten about, and our head is just so full of it at the moment. Anything else to add?
Done and seen so much. It's been a fabulous trip. Recommend it to anyone if you get the chance.
It's fascinating.
I've got to say.
And the longer we've been here, the more we've got into the way of life. We're totally in the way of it. We really don't want to go home, to be honest, but we know all good things must come to an end, and we've got to go and pay for it all, of course, and we've got to go and see everyone.
It would be an easy place to live, that's for sure.
Yeah, you could live here. North Carolina, Indiana,
Yeah.
that's where we would
Yeah.
go. We haven't got any really favourite places. We were really impressed with North Carolina.
North Carolina as a place, probably, would be right up there.
Because of the winters too, aren't as
Yeah.
severe as Indiana, but you could easily live in Indiana. The people are just so friendly, Plus we have family there.
Yeah, that's it. We were part of family when we were there, which I'm another one to remember.
That's right. Anyway, it's goodbye to America for this trip, 2011. Who knows when we'll be back? Within the next 10 years, that's a given.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 22 hours of flying. That's over about a 30-hour period.
Yeah.
Ciao for now. Here at O'Hare, let's look at your traditional Chicago deep base pizza. This one's only a little one. Tasty, $7 including tax. BB spotted a booth that she's really keen on. So that's what we're doing now. I'll tell you something. The very, very last meal we're having in America, I reckon is the best pizza I've had. Little baby thing it is, but I mean it's still heaps and heaps of food in it for $7. The little Pizza Express here, Reggio's. Yeah, delicious. It's a pepperoni, spicy Italian sausage, and that's it. Just some mozzarella and some tomato sauce. I'll tell you what, I don't know if it's the most famous, but it's the best one I've tasted. And as we get ready to board 22 hours of flying, that brings to an end the culinary tour of America, Brett and Barbara style 2011. I acknowledge that we didn't eat the healthiest foods going around, but that wasn't the point. When we get back to real life, we'll eat our stir fries and our veggies and our salads. We did have a bit of that, as you could see, but in general, we ate when we wanted, and we got it on film because that's what all the people before we left and while we were away wanted to know what we're eating. So, for better or worse, 10, 12 kilos heavier me, Barbara maybe 2. That's what it was. That's it. Ciao for now. Until next time, we'll do it all again in a few years.